Hello and welcome to That's a Wrap. My name is Anthony Gentry, and joining me today is...
Austin Jameson, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so what
Today,
are we talking about today?
Yeah, we're going to review the new Fantastic Beasts film,
Yes.
The Secrets of Dumbledore.
What Harry Potter film is this now? Is this number 11?
This is the 11th in the Wizarding world and the
That's
third Fantastic Beasts.
Yes.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
But before that...
I did watch them all, every
You
single
did?
one.
Oh, yeah. What was your favorite?
Harry Potter, the one in the middle. That one.
Yeah.
I didn't watch them. I did, however, watch the Fantastic Beasts movies.
Okay.
So,
And we'll talk about that.
Yes,
Yeah.
I wasn't completely clueless, but we'll get into that more later.
But first...
Yes.
We got a new trailer today.
Yes, we
or
did.
Yesterday, I think.
I think it was yesterday.
Yesterday. It was a big one.
Yes, it was.
It was Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, people have been waiting for this forever.
Yes.
This is, I believe, this is the closest or the shortest amount of time between the first trailer and the movie releasing.
Yeah.
Which is weird for the MCU.
Yeah, it's less than 3 months away.
Yeah, we did. Is it July?
July. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it totally is.
Yeah.
Because we'll be doing
It's
an
gonna be-
episode on it over
We
the
will.
summer.
During our kind of bonus summer season.
Yes. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. How did you like this?
I mean, it's colorful and it looked like Thor Ragnarok, and I know it's a teaser trailer, so it's not supposed to have what I'm about to complain about. But there was I felt like there was no direction to it. I've heard after watching it, you scroll down to the comments or you check whatever post it's on, and then it's like the people talking about what the movie's actually going to be about.
Mm-hmm.
But this trailer gave us besides some really nice visuals and some goofy moments with the Guardians and Thor, we didn't really get much.
Okay.
I thought it was kind of lackluster in that sense. I felt like it didn't tease any direction for the movie or for the story which is going.
I thought it did. It's him trying to find himself.
I guess, but I don't think there's strict enough terms to that. At least in the terms of the trailer.
I mean, well, I'll just go ahead and say it. I loved this trailer.
Mm-hmm.
But it seemed like it's him trying to do away with violence, kind of becoming a pacifist. I think he even said he's gonna become a farmer.
Yeah.
And I think it's just him trying to find inner peace and trying to discover himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, they don't show it, but we get Gore the God Butcher, who's played by...
That's who I don't know about. That's what I've read a bunch of it's Gore and whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's Christian Bale is playing him.
Really?
Yeah. And so then, he comes in, Thor has to stop him.
Uh-huh.
And then there's, things with the Guardians. It looks like we're getting...
the Olympians.
Yeah, the
We're getting
Olympians.
Zeus and Hercules,
Zeus.
probably.
Yeah, Russell Crowe is playing Zeus.
That's a really good fit.
Yeah,
I respect
I like that. And we got Jane Foster back as the Mighty Thor.
Yeah, I wonder how that's going to work, because I'm not familiar with how that plays into the comics.
From what I read, it was she has cancer, and this having the power of Thor kind of deviates the cancer away.
Interesting.
But the more she uses her power, the worse the cancer gets.
She also has the fractured Mjolnir from Thor Ragnarok, but it's put back together, which I'm interested to see that story. It's also weird to I know it's been talked about for a long time of her coming back, but her being absent from the MCU since, was it Dark World was the last time we saw her?
2013.
Almost a decade, which is, I think it'll be weird reintroducing her when probably so many people either skipped a Dark World or forgot it.
Yeah, I mean, she was kind of in Endgame. Doesn't really count. But
Was she?
It was she did a little bit of voiceover for when they went back to the Dark World. And,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know. I think
I'm really excited for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think having Taika Waititi in here is going to be really good.
Yes.
He made Thor interesting again.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm scared of this movie has a very difficult job ahead of it because Thor Ragnarok levitated this to such a high presence in the MCU, and so many people fell in love with that movie, and I did really like it. I think my love for it kind of faded over time because the more you watch it, the more like it's you lose its shock colorful value.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm scared of what this movie is gonna try and do to surpass or meet the expectations of what people have after Ragnarok.
Okay.
Because Taika Waititi is behind the helm, and so that's it. You already have like a really good like. It's probably gonna be good, like objectively, but I don't know if it's going to be Thor Ragnarok good, and so I think I'm just trying to artificially keep my expectations pretty low. Mm-hmm. So when I see it, maybe I'll like it, and that'll go up.
Okay.
That way, I'm not like I really like Thor Ragnarok. This is gonna be another Ragnarok, and then it's not, and lose that like appreciation for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I will say like I'm worried about how much they're doing because I thought it was just going to be about Thor, and then he's with the Guardians. They immediately leave,
right? And
then here comes the God Butcher. He has to stop them. Finds like Jane, and then it's just that. Mm-hmm. But it seems like they're doing a lot. Like it seems like the Guardians are in here a lot more than I thought they would.
It seems like I still think it's going to be them leaving pretty early. I think. Like, very early on, Thor is going to be like, I don't want to do this anymore. And they're going to have some fun Guardians, like, scene in the beginning, like James Gunn style. And then Thor is going to have his, like, little eureka moment.
Yeah, I do think it'll be like that, but I think they will come back.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I think it's unlikely.
Yeah. And then we get, like, the whole King Valkyrie.
Yeah.
And it looks like she was at, like, a meeting. And so there might be, like, politics with that.
It looked like she's, like, it's more New Asgard plot, which is fine.
It's all right. Yeah, and then...
But it also looks like there's a shot in the trailer. I don't... It looks like it was in the Olympian setting.
Yeah.
Of Thor, Korg, Valkyrie, and Jane.
Mm-hmm.
So... It'll probably happen really quick. I imagine we're seeing a very small portion from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, it's probably going to be like the first maybe half hour.
Yeah.
And like that one shot of Thor and Korg just like looking at that giant beast. Mm-hmm. Apparently that's straight out of the comics.
It's very good recreation.
Yeah, I looked at that. It's almost like one for one, except for Korg being there.
Yeah.
And apparently like that is a god that Gore killed. So I bet that's going to be the catalyst for Thor being like, oh, something's happening. I got to stop it.
I think there is a lot of potential with this movie. I am controlled optimism is what I'm trying to have.
Don't have a long wait.
That's very true, and that's very nice as well. When was I feel like the trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home would have been...
It was like a little over 3 months. I think we got in August.
Mm-hmm. It would have been like decently soon around then.
If we got in August, that'd be about 4 months.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's all I got for Thor: Love and Thunder.
Comes out July 8th. Yeah. Look out for a review.
I thought it was later in July. That's very nice.
Yeah, early July.
Yeah, so
it's always nice when a movie gets an early month release date. It just makes it feel so much sooner.
Definitely. Okay. We don't really have... We have a few other things we can talk about.
No.
I'm going to bring it up.
In Minecraft.
Yeah, they're making a live-action Minecraft movie, which,
It'll be interesting. Especially with it being live-action. I don't know how Jason Momoa is going to fit in the peacefulness of Minecraft.
I don't get it. I don't get what they're gonna. I don't know how they're gonna make it because they're just gonna make it real life, but with animals and tools from Minecraft.
Do you think they'll still try to make it blocky?
No,
I think they will.
I hope. Oh my
goodness! And they should.
Oh god, that's. If they can pull it off, congrats to them. But that's so incredibly difficult. So I will let them question their decisions. We also got a teaser for the new Fast and Furious film.
Fast X.
Yes.
It's all about family this time.
Is this 11 counting Hobbs and Shaw?
With Hobbs and Shaw, yeah.
Okay. So there's too many is the conclusion.
Yeah. I remember when 7 came out, they said, okay, 8 and 9 are going to be the last ones.
They're not going to do that.
And then 8 came out, and they said, okay, 9 and 10 are going to be the last ones.
And then
last year, 9 came out, and they said, okay, 10 is going to be 2-parter, 10 and 11, last ones.
As long as my parents keep seeing those movies, they will not stop making them.
I just want them to cross over with Jurassic Park.
What?
Universal owns both of them. Are you telling me you don't want to see Vin Diesel race a T-Rex?
I mean, I do, I guess.
Or like maybe the Transformers.
I wouldn't be against that. Okay. Now you got me.
Yeah, but it's different studios, so that won't happen.
Why'd you hype me up like that? I thought they were... What is Transformers?
Paramount. This is Universal.
That's so lame. That'd be such a... That's a crossover.
That's a crossover, yeah.
Get rid of Sam Witwicky. You put Dom in the seat of Bumblebee, and oh my goodness.
You know what else Universal owns?
Harry Potter.
Pitch Perfect. The Pitch Perfect team with Vin Diesel, part of the family, singing a cappella
you need to stop
while saving
talking.
the world.
You need to stop whatever you're thinking. That's terrible.
Or the Minions. They have the Minions.
I have only seen the first... What? Is that not Illumination? Or does Illumination belong to...
They belong to Universal.
That's terrible. Oh my goodness. Okay. I want to know how Minions haven't gotten bought by Disney yet. That seems like such a good cash cow for them to purchase. It's probably because of just that they belong to Universal and they can't really fight that yet. That was such a roller coaster. Okay. Well, I don't think we're going to see a Jurassic Park crossover with Fast and Furious. Unfortunately, yes.
But yeah, Fast X.
Fast
comes
X
out next year.
We will. You know, we're gonna be working on a little project, maybe. You'll have to speculate.
Maybe a 11-part project.
Maybe you'll have to figure that out for yourselves, though. I know we're being pretty vague here, but I believe in you all. Okay.
I believe in family.
Anyway, we don't have. There's no more trailers.
No.
There's really no.
Yeah, we were looking before. There's nothing.
This is probably not the most appropriate place. We could talk about the Johnny Depp hearing. I'm sure people would love to hear about that.
I mean, it kind of ties into the movie we're about to talk about.
It definitely does, and in some regard, I do want to talk about that.
Yeah.
But we will get to that when we get there.
Yeah.
So, what are we talking about today, Anthony?
Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore.
The Secrets
of...
I was talking about this with Anthony before the show. I think the naming conventions are so stupid.
Yes.
As I said earlier,
they are pretty dumb.
I did not watch the Harry Potter films. I really wanted to, but it turns out you can't watch them in 2 days. Well, you can if you really hate yourself. But
you had over a month to do it.
And no, we literally, you never reminded me to watch.
I reminded you every week.
No, I don't think you did.
Check the tapes.
Yeah, we'll do that later. But I did watch the Fantastic Beasts movies. They're on HBO Max, along with all 8 other Harry Potter movies. My God, and I watched those too. One second. This is not me talking about the movie, but I like the title Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yeah.
I think that's clever, and I think it works really well as a movie because it's about the book he's writing, blah, blah, blah. Spoilers as well for the first 2 movies, I guess. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
They've been out for a hot minute now.
It's been 4 years since the last one. That's
fine. So spoilers, if light, even for the first 2 films, but it's about a book he's writing, and it's really clever. It's Fantastic Beasts is the main thing, and then subtitle, and Where to Find Them. So let's make another movie and completely disregard that naming convention. It's now Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald. And I don't know. It was disappointing. I think it would be better Fantastic Beasts and blank or with blank. Just a conjunction instead of a colon.
Well, your favorite film franchise goes The Fast and the Furious, and then Too Fast, Too Furious.
Dare you insult Fast and Furious
The
franchise.
Fast and the Furious
They're
Tokyo Drift.
literally
and then
flawless.
Fast and Furious.
I've seen
and
every
then
movie.
Fast 5.
Yeah, and Fast X and Fast...
The Fate of the Furious.
Yes,
which,
thank you. Hobbs and Shaw. No, I just think it's a little weird. But this movie does not... and breaks the mold of the first one again with The Secrets of Dumbledore.
Going on the title, are there many secrets of Dumbledore in this movie?
I don't know.
Because I think we knew a lot of the secrets.
Well, I can't answer that for you, and we'll get into this. Yeah. But I
do think before we go into this review, we should mention J.K. Rowling, like the big elephant in the room.
Right.
She is, of course, the creator of the Harry Potter franchise. She wrote this film. She wrote the other two Fantastic Beasts film. And even though we are reviewing it, we do not condone any of her actions. She is a bad person. With that said, let's go on with the review.
Yes. So, do you want to do general impressions, or what do you want me to talk about here on this show of yours?
Yeah, let's go into general impressions.
Okay. So,
what did you think of this movie?
I did not like it.
Okay.
I did not like the first two particularly. The first one was fine. I understood the plot vaguely, having not seen the other Harry Potter films, which was its own task. The characters I felt were a little lackluster. I really liked Newt.
What about Jacob?
Every other Jacob was Josh Gad, but
no, don't put that on him.
Better.
Okay.
I felt like if you could have put Josh Gad in that position and gotten a similar performance, though.
A worse performance. I love
disagree.
Jacob in these movies.
He's okay.
He is the audience in these films. Is like just like looking with wonder at all this stuff. He has such a good sense of humor. I love him.
He has his moments, and of all the times I would have laughed at this film, it would probably be with like his situations.
Yeah, and he's so pure.
Still, the characters are just kind of across the board really weakly written. I felt my consistent problem with all three of these films, including the new one, is their plot is so incredibly incoherent. I have no. This new film's the worst offender. I have no idea what's going on at any given point.
I would say the second one is the worst offender with that.
Well, they make a joke in the third one halfway through the movie where it's like, well, aren't we just back where we started? And it's like, they exactly are, because they set up this whole adventure for the like main characters, and each character does their own thing, and then they all just gather for the same thing, and nothing has changed. To my knowledge. Something probably changed.
That was one of my big problems with this movie. Basically, the plot is that Grindelwald, who's like the main villain of this franchise, he's like their, I don't want to say Dumbledore, he who shall not be named, Voldemort.
Yeah.
He's their Voldemort.
I thought you were not going to say it for the purpose of like.
No, I just blinked.
Okay.
And so in this one, they're still trying to take him down. And Dumbledore has a plan. Like, they're going to try to confuse him and stuff. And there's an upcoming election that they need to stop.
I forgot about that. I like... They start with this movie. Is it a spoiler to talk about... One sec, I'm going to hop off mic real quick.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. Because... So, Grindelwald has a power where he can, like, see in the future.
Yes.
They don't really explain it that well.
They don't explain a lot of things very well.
Yeah.
But anyways, that he does. He has the power to like foresee weird or like future events kind of spontaneously.
Yeah.
And so Dumbledore's like, we know this. So how do you beat somebody with foresight? Countersight. You be confusing. And so for a movie, that's traditionally not a great idea, but they do a very good job of it.
Yeah,
I will say.
I like the idea of just having so many plans that you just kind of confuse him and try to trick him.
Well,
but it doesn't really work.
I didn't mean for my thing to be a compliment.
Yeah.
It was like a backhanded one in the sense that they did a very good job of making it confusing because I could not follow it.
I wasn't confused in the sense that I knew they were doing this in the hopes of Grindelwald like thinking he has the upper hand, and so I wasn't confused in that aspect. Like every time,
well, I didn't understand any of the plans, any of the individual aspects. There's a bunch of characters in this that I didn't know, and there's like, I'm sure there's a lot of knowledge I'm missing from Harry Potter. There's a very long like monologue / dialogue in the second film where they explain the family tree of a lot of the key characters.
Yeah, that was very confusing.
My brain completely shut off during that. And I told my girlfriend who had seen all the films, and she was like, that's probably because you haven't seen the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah, it does really help to watch the Harry Potter films.
So for that, I can't really blame it, but at least trying to follow it as a non-Harry Potter like fan, or not fan, but just somebody who's not knowledgeable about that franchise, I had no idea what was going on. And from there, it only got worse.
Yeah. I will say I disagree with you in a lot of aspects, especially the characters. Because I really like the characters, especially in the first one. Like, I love Newt and, like, kind of the dynamic between him and Tina.
I don't like Tina.
Really?
I think she's, like... I think every single character lacks any amount of depth. I think they put so much emphasis on the world around them and the overarching plot of wizards versus muggles that you, like... This is super arguable, and this is just my impression.
That's actually a note that I have right here because I feel like in the first one they were given at least some sort of depth. To be fair, I have not seen it in a while, and you just watched it, but I felt like Newt was given a lot of depth.
Yes.
Like Queenie was given a good amount. Like even Jacob, because his whole thing, it's like I wanted to start a bakery. Why do you want to start a bakery? And like they really go into his character, and even Tina, like. She wants to be an Auror, I think that's how you pronounced it, and like she's trying to rise up, but she's struggling because of things that happened in her past. So I thought the characters were well written and were given depth, but then the more it went on, like especially in the second one, it just felt so much weaker, and it felt so much more focused on the overarching plot, which is fine. Like you can do that. But it felt like they forgot about the characters along the way.
I think one of the worst tropes you can do in a movie is, or between like a movie and its sequel or prequel or sequel usually, is whenever there's a time gap that just like they try to fill you in randomly. Yeah. Like between the first and second movie, there's a time gap where Jacob and Queenie get married, and then Theseus, Newt's brother, and Leta Lestrange get married, but then Tina thinks that Newt married Leta, and so Tina starts dating somebody else, and they like... I hate when a movie ends, and the end is super sweet, or like it's a decent conclusion where Tina and Newt are close, and you can kind of see where that's going, and they're going to use the next movie to develop that, but then they scrap that in like behind the scenes. Yeah. I don't like that trope at all.
Speaking of time gaps... well, first off, I'm not that, it didn't bother me as much to have a time gap and for them to just like kind of catch you up, but I do think it was a lot at once, especially in the second film. So in my research, this is the question I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
In the movie, I could have sworn that they said it's been 8 months since the last movie. It was in Jacob's Bakery when he was being recruited, and they said it's been 8 months since you last saw Newt.
Right.
Yeah. So it's been about 8 months?
That sounds right. Yeah. I can't specifically remember that.
So when I looked it up, the first source I saw said that the second one, Crimes of Grindelwald, took place in 1927. Yeah. And this movie takes place in 1937, which is a 10-year time gap. Yeah, which is a lot. And then I looked at another source, and it said... This takes place in 1932, which is a 5-year time gap. But in the movie, they say 8 months. So I am so confused right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that's...
I think it would be a few months.
Well, 5 or 10 years is ridiculous. Yeah. Because, like...
I saw another thing that said it was 4 years. Because that's why there's a new election.
I think it has to be in that range. Because there's also, like... Well, you open... the second movie with like them trying to marry, or Jacob and Queenie trying to like get married, but it's Queenie doing a spell or whatever. And so I feel like that wouldn't take, or I don't think it's that long. I definitely think it's like a matter of months.
Yeah, I do think it's been a few months.
Especially since all the characters look the same. Like literally our only clue is the weather, with how it's like winter in the newest movie-ish, at least in New York. Yeah. And I don't know that you added something that confuses me.
It was Christmas in the first movie, but in the second one, I think it was like summer ish.
I'm guessing it was a year worth of like adventure. But like also at the same time, you have like so many things changing in the world, which is I don't know. There's so many speed bumps for me mentally trying to watch these movies. The time skips I don't think were a very good idea ultimately.
How did you like Mads Mikkelsen taking over for Johnny Depp?
Not at all.
No.
I absolutely despised it. Mads Mikkelsen's a great actor. He's done a lot of good things, and he's very good. And if they had started this with him, then I'm sure my opinion wouldn't be like that. But it feels like at any given time watching the third movie, I could not look at Mads Mikkelsen and think that was Grindelwald. Like it felt so artificially imposed, and such like I won't get super into it, but the situation around Johnny Depp and his like testimony and Amber Heard and that whole situation is terrible. The amount of work that he like lost and his like the amount of defamation to his name and the hits that he took is terrible.
Yeah.
It's a tragedy personally that he wasn't able to fulfill his role in this movie as Grindelwald. Because he was a good villain. I really like, especially with Johnny Depp, you have like a certain character cast that you think of how he acts and behaves. I felt like Grindelwald was like pretty separate from like Captain Jack Sparrow or like whatever you associate with him. And I thought that was a really interesting portrayal of like Johnny Depp in a role of like a menacing villain. But and I will say, like in the movies, one of the parts that I liked the most was Grindelwald. Yeah. Because at any given point, he didn't seem like a I want to take over the world wizard kind of guy. He was like he believed he was good, which is the fundamental like how you make a good villain. And he believed genuinely that everything he was doing was right. And he was still evil, as shown by like the scene of him like killing the family and taking their home in France. I will say real quick, I liked how never mind, I'm not going to say that. It was a French joke that they make a few times throughout the movie, but no, French people are okay. I'll say that on air. If you're French, come on the show.
Any French person.
Yeah, any French
come
person.
On the show.
You're allowed. We'd love to have you as a guest.
You on, yeah.
But I felt Johnny Depp did a very, very good job. And Mads Mikkelsen, while he does a good job as his interpretation of the character, I felt like he was a completely different person.
Yeah.
The entire time,
I agree with that.
I was trying to picture Johnny Depp, like how he would have like done this thing that Mads Mikkelsen just performed, and I just can't. Like all I see is Hannibal, or what else is Mads Mikkelsen? No, he was the villain in Doctor Strange. And he's very good in all of those roles, except this I felt was not a good continuation of Johnny Depp's performance as Grindelwald. Yeah.
There's been a new actor for Grindelwald in each movie. I
agree. It's ridiculous.
Like, in the first one, it was Colin Farrell. I mean, like, not really, but kind of. And the second one, Johnny Depp. Now, Mads Mikkelsen.
I'm surprised they don't even try to explain it away in this one. Because at least in the first one, he was trying to invade the what is it?
The MACUSA.
Thank you.
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of, in the Harry Potter films, for Dumbledore, they had an actor for 2 years. And for, like, first 2 films. They changed
actors of Dumbledore?
Well, because he passed away. Okay. And so they recasted him.
Gotcha.
But Richard Harris played the first 2 Dumbledores. And then Michael Gambon took over. But his interpretation, it was different. But it still had the same spirit. And it was still, like, functionally similar.
Interesting.
But in this one, it is wildly different.
I agree.
Like, they don't really do anything to even make like continue what Johnny Depp did, like even like how he physically looked.
I agree. I think that was like one of the main like defining points of his character as well.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Mads Mikkelsen in this role. I think he did a very good job. Like, it was a different interpretation, but I liked his interpretation, but it was jarring.
Right. Did he even have like the 2 eyes? I never even noticed that.
I looked, and it like on the movie poster, it was slight, but it was there.
Okay. I never even noticed that. With Johnny, like I will also say one of the stupid parts of the first movie is that like the first scene you get is like Grindelwald doing something.
Yeah,
and
the back of his head.
Yeah, and it's exactly the same as his disguise.
Colin Farrell.
Has the same haircut.
I called it immediately when I first saw that movie. I was like, that's Grindelwald.
And then the first time they show him in a scene like a hall, like a alleyway is what I'm thinking of, talking to Credence. It's like the same exact haircut. Yeah. And it's like, what do you think I am? You think I'm actually blind? I don't know. They didn't do a very good job of a villain reveal in the first one.
Yeah. Speaking of another character, well, Credence for one. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about him or do you want to talk about Tina?
We can get rid of I'm sorry. We can talk about Tina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not in this movie.
No, she's not.
She's in one scene.
I thought she was another character they wrote out.
No, yeah.
This is what I want. Tell me the research.
Okay.
This is what I was.
So my
about.
research. I kind of mentioned this last week. So in about 2020, maybe 2021, Catherine Waterston, who plays Tina, came out and said, "Yes, we should, not bash on J.K. Rowling, but like criticize her. We should like say like talk about this because what she's doing. What, if you don't know, she's basically like insinuates that transgender women are not women, and Catherine Waterston is saying, yes, we need to criticize her because this is very harmful to a lot of people.
Right.
And J.K. Rowling was also given a full year to rewrite the script and everything. And I think, this is my conspiracy theory, that Catherine Waterston was written out of this movie. Because there's another character in this that could have been Catherine Waterston the entire time, and that's Bunty.
Yeah. No, or Bundy?
Yeah.
You mean Lolly or Lally?
I don't think Lally. But I think Bunty.
Well, Bunty was, like, still had her... I think Bunty was fine. I think... Bunty's presence as, like, the trainer would make sense as Tina.
I mean, I liked Bunty in this movie. Like, nothing against the actress, but I think her role was originally Tina.
I disagree. I think Lally would have been switched out with Tina.
Really?
Because, I feel like Tina running into Jacob... Or, like, Tina would have had a disguise or something whenever they first do that. And I guess I should... watch what I'm saying because I realize I'm now mixing all the three movies together.
I think Lally. I mean, I liked Lally, but I also think she had a weird like accent.
I agree. I feel like she was trying a little.
She was trying a little hard, but I liked her character and like I liked the actress doing it. But her thing, like she's like a charms professor and like she has like this kind of specific sort of magic, and so it felt like that was always intended to be a part of this movie, but Bunty, everything Bunty does could have been Tina. I disagree that I don't think Tina, like, as we said earlier, Tina has, like, this path of hers to be an Auror in America or whatever. I don't think it would have made sense for her to, like, be Newt's assistant. I don't think she would have been Newt's
I think that's the main function of Bunty, is to act as, like, another, like, kind of red herring to work along with Newt, just as like a side character. But I think if we didn't have Bunty, it would feel like, I don't know.
It
wouldn't be
like,
a huge
kind of her mission. We won't like go into specifics.
Okay, I know what you're saying.
Her being like
I totally know
the
what you
whole
mean
journey of you need
her
to trust. Plan. Yeah, and that's just what I meant. Not the role of being the assistant.
I agree.
But
I was interpreting that completely wrong.
Okay. I think that was definitely Tina at first, and then they changed it to being Bunty.
It definitely felt like she was written out. Like calling like the stench that like reeks of like any character in any movie. Whenever they're like, oh yeah, she
their reasoning is she's busy.
Yeah, she was like she's
promoted.
She's the promoted president or whatever of MACUSA in New York, and she's got a lot going on. It's so weak and it's so obvious, I think, even if it wasn't. Like, there was too many changes.
Yeah.
From each movie to movie, there's too much stuff, like, too many variables that they're messing with, trying to perfect their little, like, cast, that, like, they keep messing up the formula. As soon as they're about to get it, and then, boom, this actor got arrested, this actor, like, yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? There's just so much stuff surrounding like.
Yeah, this is like one of the most controversial franchises.
It really has to
ever made, because you have Johnny Depp, you have J.K. Rowling, you have now Ezra Miller,
right,
who has been just wreaking havoc
yes.
in Hawaii. Do you think they'll be recasted?
I'm pretty absolutely.
Yeah,
I think
they definitely will, especially after yesterday's announcement of them being arrested.
Well, to my knowledge, I believe Ezra Miller also got arrested 2 years ago, and he got off from I
don't think they got arrested, but they choked someone to the ground while saying, "Do you think this is funny now?" And then
my bad.
Yeah, and it's a full video of them doing
excuse
it.
Me.
And then they're in Hawaii, just wrecking shop.
It's so appalling, the course that this movie has taken, because I don't like, or back to the Tina topic, I don't like her character, but I do I think she should have still been a huge part.
And Tina has to be a huge part of this, because we already know that Tina and Newt end up together. If you look at it's all planned out. At least the ending of Tina and Newt end up together. It's in Harry Potter as well. Newt is married to Tina, and so J.K. Rowling can't escape that. She has to.
Is Newt in Harry Potter?
He's referenced.
Interesting.
His book is referenced, I think, in the first one.
I might have to. I do plan on watching them eventually.
Oh yeah, that was one of my questions. Does this make you want to watch Harry Potter any more or less?
100% out of spite. I want to understand this franchise, and I'm tired of being just left out of the loop.
Yeah. Because there's a lot to do with this franchise.
There's no way that alchemist guy in the second movie isn't some major character in Harry Potter.
Oh, you don't.
I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the little music cue they play when he first turns around, and it's okay. There's.
Do you know what the first movie's called?
The first Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Is that the Philosopher's Stone?
Also called the Sorcerer's Stone.
Okay.
Do you remember what was in the second one?
No.
They call out. They say, "Hey, I'm working on this. I call it the Sorcerer's Stone."
Really?
Yeah. So okay. Nicholas Flamel has he's not in the movie, but he has a huge part in the first Harry Potter movie.
Okay.
So yeah, I think watching those movies I don't know if they'll make you appreciate this franchise more, but you'll definitely understand it more.
It's also very on the nose every time they do a Harry Potter reference, because they always do a slow dolly in as it plays a little Harry Potter theme in the background. Yeah,
in this movie they just fully do it. I think when you go to Hogwarts, Harry Potter theme.
The music. Yeah. Is it Hedwig's theme, I believe it's called?
Hedwig's theme, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I wish I had paid attention and just watched them as they came out, so that way I wouldn't have to be watching them now.
How did you like the Beasts?
I really don't like the little the crab guys.
Oh yeah. That scene, by the way, was so throwaway.
I agree. That felt like it was a trailer moment.
Yeah, for any
included for the movie.
Do you want to do a spoiler section at the end?
We can.
Yeah. So without spoilers, it's just a scene in a prison.
Yes.
And the reasoning for that scene felt so forced, and there was nothing meaningful done in that scene. It just felt like, hey, this will be fun to do, but there is nothing to do with character moments, or it didn't enhance the plot at all. It was, hey, let's go to this prison, let's do this thing. And it even tied into part of Dumbledore's plan.
I agree.
That's what I was. How could Dumbledore know that would even happen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That makes no sense.
I don't know. It's everything seems because they try to make it this big grand plan of Dumbledore, but everything just feels so loosely put together.
Yeah.
Where it's all coincidences, and then Dumbledore is giggling as he cracks his fingers together. And
well,
I don't know.
I know Dumbledore, he's a genius. There are things where I'm okay, I'll give you this. He knows he knows these people so well. You're gonna do that, you're gonna do that. But the whole prison thing, that just seems way out of his power level. How could you know that? That's a Grindelwald thing. I can tell the future. You're gonna do this.
Right.
Whereas
it was like exposition for the sake of exposition.
Whereas like some things like in the trailer, it was in the trailer. So like Jacob's wand and how that whole scene plays out.
Yeah.
I can tell how Dumbledore would know that would happen.
Can you explain something to me?
Yeah.
What was the point of his wand? Does it not work? Was that the joke? Like he said his core was removed or something?
Yeah, so for wands to work, they need a core.
Okay.
And so the whole point of that was to confuse Grindelwald and to it's kind of a spoiler, but
okay.
To just like throw him off and other people off.
Okay. Weird. Well, I feel like
and to blend in with like the other wizards at the party.
Well, aren't they able to like instantly tell if you're a muggle?
I feel like
every character has been like instantly known that Jacob wasn't a wizard. I don't know. I don't know the rules of this universe. I'm not going to sit around making accusations or not. But I think that it's a particularly like picky movie with how it tells its story.
Yeah.
I do have a number of flaws with the whole final scene or final act, I suppose.
Yeah. I liked some of it, like of the final act. I also liked how it wasn't just this big action scene. Something.
Yeah. Well, I really liked the like a lot of the action scene. Like I will say the visual effects for a lot of like it's solid.
Yeah.
I like the lengths or the extent to that Harry Potter and its magic has been pushed.
Yeah, we're kind of criticizing this movie a lot, but I did have fun watching this movie.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know if I'd say I respect it because I do, but the writing is just like too much out. I could not walk out of this movie and understand what was going on or what I'd watched.
Like I had a good time, but then once you start to think about everything, that's when all the criticisms come in. Mm-hmm. Like if you go in and you just like, I want to just turn my brain off and like have a good time, you'll have that with this movie.
Yeah.
But just don't think about a lot of things too much.
Yeah, they force you to think about it.
They do.
The way I described it, or in my little notes while I was watching the movie, was that like it felt like there was 30 minutes worth of content that they cut out. Like in each movie, it feels like there's so much context that the director was like, we can't fit this in. But then they cut out key parts that feel like they would have explained everything.
I think that's J.K. Rowling trying to be mysterious and set things up later. Like, because that happens in Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. Like, there's things that you get, and even in, like, the very first movie, that do not get resolved until the very last movie.
Yeah.
But the difference with that is that, for one, everything is consistent. Mm-hmm. But they give you hints along the way,
right,
and they make it make sense.
I agree. I think this movie, like, it's big, or I think this franchise as Fantastic Beasts, is weakness right now is like we talked about earlier with how much variables are changing from movie to movie. Yeah. It doesn't seem like they can keep a like solid plan of what they want the next movie to be.
Yeah, the whole character of Nagini was not in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that was one of my facts. That was because she was pregnant, and also because of COVID, she with like the place where she gave birth, it wasn't in the UK where they were filming it, and so because of like COVID, like travel issues, she wasn't able to make it, so they like rewrote some of this stuff.
I didn't even think about that. I don't know. I think Credence's character, who's just like was super rushed along as well.
Like his whole thing is like, who is he? Right. And that was the main thing in the second movie.
Yes. And
then in this movie, it felt so forced. It's like, and now he's a scene where you know who he is.
Right.
And goodbye.
He's supposed to be, from the way I understand it, the character trope of a like guy, like somebody who doesn't know who he is lied to by the villain to make him think that he's somebody who should hate the heroes, and then he's like, the heroes are like, no, you're not that. Like it's like literally almost a Rey situation from Star Wars, the new sequel.
Yeah.
Or new trilogy, I mean. but I think it's the same vibe where they get confused on how they want to reveal who this is.
Yeah.
And so they reveal who this is like 3 times, and it doesn't make sense any
like,
of the times for me.
The scene where they like actually do reveal it, it's a cool scene with like some like cool battles. It's like good imagery, but then when they actually tell you, it's given like no fanfare. It is just a non-moment.
I agree.
And it should be this big thing because you spend an entire movie trying to figure out who this character is.
Arguably, I'd say that Credence is one of the most important parts of this franchise as a whole.
Yeah, Credence definitely is.
Each movie is what, like, his character is what Grindelwald's focused on.
Yeah.
And so...
doesn't Grindelwald think that Credence is, like, the key to his success?
I believe they say this in the second movie, is that Credence is the only one powerful enough to kill Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Which, as they also explain in the second movie, is Grindelwald and Dumbledore can't fight each other because they had a blood pact because they were in love when they were kids. I believe is the explanation they give.
Yeah. It is. They were in a relationship. They were in love with each other.
Yeah.
But I think Grindelwald wasn't fully in love with Dumbledore and kind of did that to trick him to be like, I know you're very powerful, so let's do a blood pact.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, that's interesting. But
yeah.
They don't really tell you that. That's like outside knowledge that you have to know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I certainly didn't know it. And I don't know most of the inside knowledge. But still, with Credence, I feel like that's just a huge like letdown is to make that moment wherever it may be placed in the movie.
Yeah.
Just so anticlimactic and such a missed opportunity. We are at around 13 minutes left.
Yeah.
10 to 13. Do you want to go into spoilers?
Yeah.
Or we can let's do
final... do facts.
Do you want to do facts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, one thing I forgot to mention, Newt is like still the lead, but it's mainly focused on Dumbledore.
I agree. That's a good point.
It is kind of weird having it be Newt's franchise, but then he's kind of sidelined. Like he's still a lead, but he's like a co-lead now.
Something I really dislike about this movie is Newt. I like Newt, and I still think he is one of the best parts of this movie. But I really liked. I like Newt's behavior completely in the first 2 movies. I like that he is a protagonist who is so incredibly socially awkward. In every like conversation he has, he never makes eye contact. He's very consistent with that performance. Yeah. This movie, I felt like lacked that a lot. I felt like Newt was like suddenly he's so much more confident. I'm not saying he is confident by definition, but there is so much less like of that like hesitant, stuttery, like not looking eye contact.
I disagree with that, especially like the scene on the train. He was definitely like that.
I guess so. I don't know. I think we're seeing character development, but I don't believe that it's being translated appropriately.
I think it was also a lot of him being like excited to be with Dumbledore and like maybe he thought it was like fun.
And like for
like
the
seeing
most
this
part,
new beast
that I'm down for, but I think there's a lot of scenes that I can't name specifically because I don't remember. This is just my general impression of Newt's character, but I feel like it wasn't quite the same, and adds to another variable that was weirdly modified between movies. But fun facts.
Steve Kloves, who is the writer of almost every Harry Potter film except I think the 5th one, was brought on to write this movie because J.K. Rowling submitted a script. Warner Brothers said, this is bad. And they brought him on to kind of fix it up. And it was delayed a full year to help with that, to compensate. Johnny Depp filmed one scene in this movie. It was the very beginning scene that we saw, with the conversation between him and Dumbledore in the diner.
Yeah.
He still got his $16 million salary.
Good.
Because, like, part of the salary was, like, pay or play. So... because like he was out forcefully, he still got his salary.
That's good.
This has a $200 million budget. They tried to keep this budget lower because the first and second one were $200 million. First one made a lot of money. Second one made still a lot of money but less. So they said,
do you have the numbers for that by chance? If you don't, that's okay.
I don't, but I can look it up.
I'm curious about what the third movie's been performing at, though.
I do have those numbers. I think the first one was around 700 million, and then the second one was 500 million, which is a big decline.
Mm-hmm.
But for this one, they wanted to keep it low, and I think they gave it like 100-ish million, maybe 150 million.
Mm-hmm.
But then COVID happened,
Right?
So they had to like a lot of reshoots, delays, a lot of like compensating for COVID, so it brought right back up to 200. Opening weekend, it made $45 million, which is the lowest weekend ever, or opening weekend, for a Harry Potter franchise movie.
Wow.
Yeah, so far worldwide, it's made $196 million. So it looks like they'll make their money back. They might make a sequel. This was originally going to be a trilogy. But then, before the first one even came out, they said, never mind, it's going to be 5 movies. And I think they are waiting to see how this one performs before they say...
they still will, out of obligation to the Harry Potter, like, universe. But I feel like they're definitely... I hope that they finally take a, like, chance to reflect on what they've done and make, like, just sit down, open Notepad on your laptop, and write out a nice little like plan for the future, because it feels so incredibly disconnected movie to movie.
We do know how this ends. It's supposed to end with like a duel between Dumbledore and Grindelwald. Bro, like that's how it's supposed to end.
Spoilers. What the heck?
Watch the first Harry Potter movie. They'll tell you.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's just a spoiler for me.
Yeah, it's a spoiler for you. In the very first Harry Potter movie,
they talk about Grindelwald.
Yeah, so there's this candy called like a chocolate frog, and with it you get like kind of like these Pokemon trading cards, but it's with actual people in the wizarding world.
Okay.
And so Harry gets Dumbledore, and on the back there's like a bio, and it said he's like famous for defeating Gellert Grindelwald in a famous duel in like 1930. It's like
a Clone Wars moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not really a spoiler, but maybe for you it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm sorry.
I wish I'd known that before watching all of these movies.
Yeah, so...
that, you also said that, never mind, that's just the Newt and his book stuff. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I mean, the book came out before the second one, before the second movie.
Okay. Do they have an actual Fantastic Beasts and where to find them? Like a visual encyclopedia for... They should.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
I
feel like that would be a really big missed money opportunity.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, there might be a sequel. They kind of how they end it it paves way for another sequel, but it's also like, if it ends, this is a good kind of stopping place.
I disagree, but then again, I don't know where a good stopping place would be. I just mean,
they kind of resolved a lot of the characters.
That's fair.
Like, we know how it happens. We don't need to, but who knows? I hope they make another one, just because...
I'd be surprised if they don't. I think, especially with it being Universal...
Warner Brothers.
What is it?
Universal was Fast and Furious when we had that conversation.
Where's the Harry Potter part?
It's at Universal, but it's a Warner Brothers property.
Okay. Well, then maybe not. I don't know how much. I'm sure Warner Brothers has a decent foot in the game.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they have The Flash coming out. That's also Ezra Miller, so they might have to recast that, and that could cost a lot of money.
That's rough.
Yeah.
That'd probably be for the better, though, from what I've heard about The Flash.
But those are all my facts.
Cool.
Yeah. What's the Rotten Tomatoes score?
Oh, God. I'm not going to predict this at all. I'm already going to call it. I have no idea, because I'm not in tune. I don't think it's going to be high, but I don't think people hated this movie. I'm going to say the critic score...
Do you want the other two movies?
That's what I was about to ask.
Okay.
I'm going to guess the first one's like 86.
You're close.
The second one is probably like 78.
No.
Lower?
Yeah. The first one is 74%, which I think is decent. I think it's a good score.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the first movie. There's just something about it. It was like, hey, let's go back to the magic. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The second one has a 36%.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So what do you think this new one has?
I think people liked this one more than the second.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, though, not by much. Let's say 55%.
Okay.
For the critics. And then for the audience, I'm going to say it's probably around the same. if not a little higher. I'm going to say 65.
Okay, so 55 and 65.
Yeah.
Final answers?
Yeah.
Okay. So for critics, you said 55%. The score is 48%.
I'll take that. Yeah,
that's
not
7
bad.
off. That's
yeah.
7 off.
Okay.
For audience, you said 65. The correct answer
I'm starting to regret that.
is 85.
What?
A lot of people like this movie.
How?
The
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
If they watch
188
Harry Potter, that's all it takes, apparently.
188 reviews from critics and over 2,500 for audience. The critics' consensus is Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore avoids some of the pitfalls that plagued its predecessor, but lacks much of the magic that drew audiences into the wizarding world many movies ago.
Solid.
Yeah. How would you rate this?
Before seeing the Harry Potter films, I'd give this like a 4 or 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
After seeing them, which I've not, it'd probably be pretty higher because I'd have
I
a
think
better
it would
idea
be.
of what's going on.
I think it'd be a lot higher because my score for this, it may be like a 7 or I don't want to say an 8 because I do think there's a lot of problems with this movie, but I still enjoyed myself watching it and I had a good time. So maybe 7.5.
I think if I was more invested in the franchise and the universe of Harry Potter, then I'd probably like it more, but I'm not.
I do think it's a big step up from the second movie, just because it felt way more focused, even if there was not a lot of focused things in this movie. So we have about 4 minutes left. Do you want to go over? Or
we can do just like some rapid fire spoilers. We don't have to go super far over, but just enough to talk about get some things off our chest. So spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Do you want to talk about the chillin'?
Not really.
No.
That was one of the only parts I understood.
Yeah. I thought it was going to bow for Jacob.
I super duper agree.
They
the
set
entire
that up
time
so
he's
much.
feeding the chillin' at the dinner.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, what's this?" And like,
he's
it's
like,
a chillin'. It only
bows
bows.
to the pure of
and like,
heart.
just like looking directly at him, like, direct eye contact. Like, okay, it's gonna bow for him.
Right.
And then at the ceremony, it bows for Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Which I get, like Dumbledore.
Yeah.
He's a great
and he was
person.
and then he said, "There's another here worthy."
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is where it's going. And this is one of the
what
candidates.
if it goes right back to Grindelwald?
That'd be funny.
But like,
Dumbledore
is not the purest soul. Like even in this movie, they say it was an accident, but he still killed his sister.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Is that another Harry Potter thing?
They say that in this movie.
Well, I know, but did anybody know that before?
I think the only other mentions were like
the
other Fantastic Beasts. By the way, he killed his sister.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they don't know which one killed the sister, if it was him or Grindelwald.
Okay.
Or if it was
Weird.
the brother, Aberforth. I forget.
Gotcha.
I mean, they might have said it in one of the later Harry Potter movies.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not the purest soul. But Jacob, he's a pure soul.
Yeah, I felt I that's like definitely such a missed opportunity, especially because you get Grindelwald like talking mad about like, our war with the Muggles begins today. We hate the Muggles, and then the Muggle is the pure of heart that it chooses.
That would have been
poetry.
Yeah, it's also weird how in the first one they make such a big deal about in America they're called no-mags.
Yeah.
And then in this one, Grindelwald's still American, but he's like Muggle.
Yeah.
Because the audience only knows
he's
the
Mads
word
Mikkelsen now. Yeah, I think that was a really weird segment. That whole final act, I thought, first of all, the action of it confusing, which is what they wanted. But there's a whole fight scene with Theseus and Lally, where I really liked that fight scene. I thought it was clean. I thought it went on for an appropriate amount of time.
Yeah.
And then they cut away, they do something, and then they come back and they're captured. Mm-hmm. And they show, in the fight scene, they show Theseus and Lally wrecking shop.
Oh, I thought they showed you them getting captured.
The next time,
they did.
I don't remember it.
Okay.
The next time you see them, they're like, they're restrained or whatever.
I love the idea of like all the suitcases coming out.
I agree. There's supposed to be 7, I believe. But, math is hard. I understand that. Half a dozen. That's 6. Yeah. Am I wrong? One case originally plus the 6 that Bunty had made. That's 7.
Yeah.
5 cases.
Also Bunty. That's kind of what I was alluding to earlier.
I got that.
Well, I know, just like for the audience.
Right.
Her whole mission of going and duplicating the suitcases and like showing Newt a lesson in trust and that you can't always know everything. That is such a thing that would enhance Newt and Tina's relationship because they're supposed to end up together, yet they don't see each other until the very end of this movie before Jacob's wedding.
It's another Zendaya Dune moment.
Yeah, and it's like in this one, like I thought they were still together. Like they were together at the end of the second one. Am I wrong? And then in this one, it's like, oh hey, nice to see you again.
Exactly.
What?
It's like, another wonderful example. One of my notes, my last note that I took, and I didn't take many, was Tina's actor was available. Like 3 question marks. Because I figured she was written out because she was busy or like whatever, any excuse that like people usually have for being written out of movies.
They delayed it a year for her because she was pregnant. So they delayed it for her.
Yeah.
And then she's still not in the movie.
It's that was so baffling to me is that she was, because I using somebody's picture is easy enough. Whenever they first show her when she opens the book and she's doing the weird newspaper movie thing, that was fine. But then she was there and she had lines, and at the very end of the film, and it was like it's your, I'm very apt to agree with your conspiracy theory, and if it was that, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the other notes I really talked about, I still the Mads just feeling completely different in terms of spoilers. I think that was all I had.
The prison section.
That was just
it was a weird rescue mission because you didn't need to rescue him. He just didn't need to get captured.
Exactly.
Like that whole thing could have just been written as he didn't try to like arrest those 2 people.
Yeah.
And that's it. And maybe like his character would have, but you could have just said like they went to that ministry and they caught him and they got him out. And that's it. That whole prison scene, like the brothers have this whole dynamic of Newt is kind of like jealous of his brother. Like there's resentment there.
Yeah.
And during that scene, they don't like talk about anything really at all. They kind of stay silent.
It's just crab
like,
jokes.
Yeah, you gotta swivel. Swivel. And that's it. They don't do anything to be like, okay, we finally have these brothers alone. How about let's have them talk about stuff?
Right.
No. And then that whole like tie is a portkey. Like how could...
What is that?
A portkey is like when at the very end how they traveled to the place. It's like it's an object that you like magically alter, so when you touch it, it transports you to another
Is it like the book
location
that Lally was using?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
When you watch Harry Potter, you'll know.
All right, well. Can you explain to me quickly what the importance of the first half of the film was about? Why did any of that happen? Why? There's a scene where Dumbledore and the 4 main goons are in Hogwarts, and Dumbledore's like, all of you, very well done, very well done. And then Theseus is the one I was talking about earlier. He says, we're right back where we started. And then Dumbledore's like, no. From that point on, the movie could have just existed. I don't understand what anything before that was. Like, I believe the assassination attempt.
Oh,
whatever.
you mean the plans, and then
yeah.
Do you mean when they go back to Hogwarts and then he's like, well done?
Yes.
Oh yeah, those plans
everything
were
before that, I don't understand. I didn't understand the function of any of that.
Oh yeah, so there's like the assassination attempt to like kind of confuse him because Grindelwald knows that Jacob is a Muggle. So then it would confuse him, be like, why does he have a wand and it's working, quote unquote? And then like them going to the voting ceremony kind of thing, like here's your officials. I don't know what that was for. And what were the other plans?
It would have been because that was Lally and Jacob's mission, and then Theseus and Newt were off crab walking.
Yeah.
And that took up like the first half of the movie, along with exposition about Grindelwald and like him cutting the neck of a small baby deer animal, which is so cursed.
And like these are supposed to be fantastic beasts.
Yeah, and that's like, not what I came here to see.
In the first movie, they have so many beasts, and it's like it's whimsical. It's so cool. I love seeing all the beasts in those films, like especially like the rhino kind of scene, and when they're Macy's. In the second one, they tone it down a lot, Like, I can't even remember a scene with the bees except for like the Niffler and the little tree guy.
Yeah.
But then in this one, they bring him back a little bit, but then they kill one immediately. Yeah. They kill two. Yeah. The mom and the
that whole that scene youngling. In the beginning was an emotional roller coaster.
I know.
I don't even know. And then Credence is there because he's like that's supposed to be his Grindelwald side. Mm-hmm. And then they just don't. He's just kind of there writing messages on his mirror to his dad that he knows, apparently.
Yeah.
And that he's not like the brother of Dumbledore. I thought that's what they were talking about in the first or the second film. It was the big reveal is that he was a Dumbledore, and so everybody thought he was like his brother.
Yeah, everyone thought it was a brother.
But he's now the nephew of Albus, and he's the father of Dumbledore's brother.
I guess the secrets of Dumbledore. They didn't say Albus. But like that's
definitely the point of
a secret of Dumbledore, not secrets.
Is it the secret of Dumbledore?
No, it's secrets, multiple. Okay, yeah. So I don't know what the other secrets are. Because we already know that him and Grindelwald have the blood pact and they were in the relationship. We know that he might have killed his sister. Like there's not many secrets that they give away in this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the title was just because of Credence, where you're supposed to be like.
Yeah.
Oh, you think of Dumbledore as this old guy from Harry Potter, but
and I think it was like, hey, remember Dumbledore?
Actually, you know what the secrets of Dumbledore probably is?
What?
It's probably the secrets of his brother, of that Dumbledore, because the Credence was his secret.
Yeah. But that's still one secret.
That's still not stupid, multiple. Is what it is.
Yeah.
But we've been running over for a little bit. I think I'm pretty content with everything. Do you have anything else you want to hit on?
That's about it. Yeah.
Okay.
I had a good time with this movie. If you like Harry Potter, you'll probably like this movie.
Yes.
If you're like Austin, you haven't seen any of them, you probably won't.
Mm-hmm. Next week, we are very, 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 very excited. Excited for a movie, The Unbearable Weight. You want to say
Massive Talent?
Yes.
It is. Ooh.
I'm very excited. I think it's going to be such a good
movie
time.
For so long. I cannot wait. I don't even know if it's going to be really popular with a lot of our audience, but I don't care. I am. Yeah. So excited to see this movie.
I'm gonna be redeeming my free large drink and popcorn.
Ooh.
I'm busting out all the stops. I'm enjoying this movie. And I think it's gonna be. I have high expectations, which I'm worried about. I'll admit. I don't want to free guy this for myself. But I think it's going to be a very good movie.
There's 2 other movies coming out that week, and I'm going to try.
Is that what is it? Is Northman?
The Northman and The Bad Guys.
Right.
And I'm going to try to watch them. I'm not sure if I'll have the time to, but I'll try. And if I do, we'll have some more reviews
I'll see them all in one day so I can keep getting refills with my... That's the strat.
You should.
I might do that. Maybe I'll... That'd be next Saturday, right? Or is that like this Friday? Is that all those are coming out?
Yeah. Well, technically tomorrow.
Interesting. Okay. Well, anyways, we'll talk about more of that when we're not running over on our podcast. You can find us at
That's a Wrap NCR.
Yes, on Instagram. Any of our updates or posts you can find there.
Well, let's give us suggestions for like movies to watch or something. Interact.
Yeah, if you want to. You don't got to. Yeah. If you want to come on the show, you can.
If you're
talk
French,
to us. Maybe
come on the show.
If you're French, only if you're French.
Yeah. Or Ryan Reynolds.
Or Ryan Reynolds. We're gonna keep adding you in every post.
Every single post.
We're going to slowly morph over to the Ryan Reynolds podcast, where we just talk about Ryan Reynolds. Anyways,
but until that happens, that's a wrap.